So we're going to go ahead and start into geometry now. And the first thing I want to do is review a few of the angle relationships that you have learned in previous classes. So one of them are vertical angles. Those are the angles that are opposite each other. And they are equal, okay? So you might have something like this. These two angles right here are called vertical angles. Supplementary angles are angles that add up to 180 degrees, while complementary angles add up to 90 degrees. Okay, and then a linear pair is just a pair of angles that are on a line, so they share the same vertex. The vertex is this right here. So this would be a linear pair. Oops, this right here would be a linear pair. And these are the two angles right here. They likewise add up to 180 degrees. Okay? So vertical angles are the angles that are opposite and they're equal and so on. So I just want to show you what I mean with a few of these. So you might have number one. Number one is an example of a linear pair. So this one right here for number one. And this one is just asking us to find the missing angle. So in order to find that missing angle, we have 37 degrees right here. So I know that angle 1, if I add that to 37 degrees, should be 180 degrees. So to find angle 1, or the measure I should say of angle 1, you just subtract 37 from 180 degrees, and you get 143 degrees, and you are done. So number 2 has a couple angles on it. This is going to be an example of vertical angles and linear pairs. So we're going to start with the vertical angles because those are the easiest ones. So we've got 23 degrees. 23 degrees is vertical from the angle 3. So I know the measure of angle 3 is going to be 23 degrees as well. So we need to find the measure of angle 2 and the measure of angle 1. Now, the reason we're going to have a linear pair as well is because right here is a straight line, and then we have a pair, the 23 and the 1 are a pair. And I can even show that relationship a little better by just briefly getting rid of all this other stuff over here. So you see how that's a linear pair right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the measure of angle 1, if I add that to 23, it should be 180 degrees. So the measure of angle 1 is just, if I subtract 23 from 180, I will get my angle, and you get 157 degrees. Now, from there, that was how we got the measure of angle 1. Angle 2 is a vertical angle from angle 1, so that is also 157 degrees. And there is your answer. All three of those. Number 3 is an example of what we call a complementary angle, because this is 90 degrees over here, which means over here should also be a 90 degree angle. So 1 and 32 should add up to 90. So to find the measure of angle 1, I would do 90 degrees minus 32 degrees to get my angle. So you subtract that, you get 58 degrees. Okay, well, with that said, we're still going to use these same things to solve these next problems. So for number 4, we've got, and for number 5, we've got some examples of vertical angles. So these are opposite of each other. So the way you work with vertical angles, if it tells us to solve for x, you're going to go ahead and set them equal to each other. So I'm going to take that 4x plus 2. I'm going to take the degree symbol off. I'm going to say that's equal to 42. And then I'm going to solve. So I'll subtract 2, so I get 4x equals 44. And then divide by 4, and you get x equals 11. So same thing for number 5. So I'm going to go ahead and set them equal to each other. So 5x is going to equal to 2x plus 60. So I just take the degree symbols off, and I set them equal, and then I solve. So I'm going to get the x's all on one side. So I have 2x equals 60. And then I'll divide both sides by 2. And you end up with x equals 30. Now, it did say in the directions, I just noticed this, to also find the measure of each labeled angle. For number 4, we already know them because it's 46 degrees for both. But for number 5, it's 5x and then 2x plus 60. So all they're saying is plug in that 30 to either one of these to find out what it's equal to. So I'll just do it to this one. 5 times 30 is 150 degrees. So that tells us that both angles over here are 150 degrees.